How to beat your competition on every wholesale deal. It's Rick in here with Flip with Rick, and I'm going to show you the tips and tricks I've used over the last 20 years to absolutely not only beat my competition, but completely annihilate them in my local market. And I'm going to share these tips with you. Before we get into it, do me that favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button to continue to receive the absolute best wholesaling information from myself and Zach. So our competition, how do I beat them consistently in my local market on any and every wholesale deal? Well, let's just start out with the basics. The first thing is you have to view your competition not as competition. What do I mean by that? The only competition you should truly be in is with yourself. Meaning, if your competition's here and you think you're here and you're just trying to get up to where they are, I need you to reset that mindset. And I need you to start up here and understanding your competition's always going to be here and they're going to do micro little changes to try to chase you, but you're always going to be rising to the cream of the crop. And if you do that, you never have to worry about competition again. Honestly, in the last 7 to 9 years, I've never worried about competition in my local South Florida market because they're never going to do the things I do and my team does to beat me out on deals on a consistent basis. You are your only competition. All the other competition's so far behind you. And the tips and tricks that myself and Zach teach you on here on Flip with Rick is going to give you the tools to absolutely crush any competition, and understanding the biggest competition you have is you. I need you guys to be you and you only. Now, it's okay if you want to learn techniques from myself, Zach, other people in the business, but I don't need you to be me. It doesn't work. There's only one Rick in, there's only one Zach in, and there's only one you. So find your unique ability and bring it to the surface. God gave us all individual talents, and you need to shine. If you are a funny person, you have the ability to make people laugh, make your sellers laugh. I have never met a seller that hasn't cracked a smile or a laugh that you haven't had an amazing conversation with it. So use that. If you're caring and empathetic, you really love people, then bring that to the foresight. If you're really good with numbers and stuff, you just got to work it into a conversation and let them know you're there to provide them data and help them out. The key thing here is, guys, is being you gives you the unique ability to be comfortable with yourself, and it's going to show with your sellers. And the more you are you, the more true you are to your identity, the more comfortable you are, and you don't have to put on this false premise. A lot of these gurus you guys are learning from, or if you've paid, a lot of it's fake. They are selling you an image, and at the end of the day, your sellers just want to know they're dealing with an authentic person, and that is you, and I need you to be you. Our next one, guys, this one drives me nuts, is if you have any inbound marketing, direct mail, even SMS, the return on cold calls, other than the initial screening of clients from disruptive marketing, you guys got to answer your phone. So if you're going to put a phone number on a door hanger or a flyer and somebody is brave enough to call you, answer the phone. Oh, Rick, no, I just let it go to voicemail. It's much more efficient. So-and-so taught me if I leave like a 2-minute voicemail and explain what I do. Guys, in today's age, people are looking for instant gratification. Most of the time, they have 6 or 7 postcards in their hand, and they're going through and they're calling on each one. And every time they get a voicemail, they set that one aside. So maybe yours is the second or third card comes up. When it comes up, answer that phone, be enthusiastic, be a human being, engage a conversation. You'll actually shock your sellers and they're like, this is amazing. I'm talking to someone that actually cares. They answer their phone. They're in my local market. And then what you're going to do is once you start talking to them, Mr. Seller, I tell you what, how many other cards you got in your hand there? I got like 6 or 7 others. Do me a favor. Set those all aside. I'm going to come by this evening. We're going to talk, have a conversation, and I'm going to try to get you a solution. But in order for me to do that, I got to pull some data. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Is that okay? And then at the end of the conversation, remember, do me a favor. Don't call anyone else. Give me the opportunity first. I really want to make this work for you. And 9 times out of 10, they will honor that agreement only if you answer your phones live. And if you guys are hiring out VAs to answer your phone, you better be recording the conversations and make sure they have huge buy-in and they take ownership of the phone calls. Answer your phones, guys. It's a common sense thing, but it works. Next thing, we need to have conversations and get rid of these scripts. If you have a script, it prones you to be a robot and it's going to solicit yes and no or one word answers. When you have conversations with people, you can actually ask open-ended questions. And when you get open-ended questions, people will give you the information you need to put the best wholesale deal together. It doesn't mean you forget what your agenda is when you talk to people, but what I want you to do is memorize the key points. So if you're meeting with a motivated seller, you should have 4 key points to get across to them to see if you can put a wholesale deal together. Do it, guys. Just memorize the points and have a conversation. Mr. Seller, can you tell me a little bit more about the house? What's going on with the roof? Like, I see some things over there. What's going on with it? Instead of, do you have a new roof? No. Did you paint the house? Yes. As opposed to asking conversational questions, because when you have really good conversations, you start building rapport. Once you build rapport, you establish relationships, and relationships will crush chasing price down every time in wholesaling. That's my key difference is you've got to have conversations. You've got to avoid these scripts. I can tell when someone's telemarketing me and they have a script instantly. I'm a number. They're going to get through it. They're calling 900 other people that day, and I'm going to get off the phone fast as I can with them. As opposed to someone calling me, hey, Rick, how's your day going? What's going on with your day? Do you have some time to talk about the house? I had a few questions for you. Oh, wow. They actually have buy-in. I'm going to start talking to them. Once I build that rapport, sky's the limit on it, guys. Have conversations, avoid scripts. It's not that hard. Me and Zach teach you exactly how to do it right here at Flip with Rick. Expectations. Guys, you have got to set expectations up front with your sellers. What do I mean by that? Is it's simple as this. Mr. Seller, I'm going to spend some time with you today. We're going to talk about your house. We're going to go over some numbers. I'm going to find out what's going on. And at the end of the conversation, we're going to find out if we're a good fit. And if you like everything you hear from me and you think Rick and Zach is a good fit for you, then you can say yes, hey, I want to move on. I want to enter into an agreement with you. Or you decide what I'm saying has no use to you and it's a hard no and you can move on. Either way, at the end of the conversation, we just need an agreement to either move forward or just call it a day and say no. Either way, I'm going to help you sell your house. Is that a fair agreement? Can you commit to that? And they always say yes. Now, when it comes to the end of our conversation, maybe you spend 45 minutes, maybe it's a couple hours. I don't know. And they go, hey, Mr. Seller, what do you think about that offer? And they just kind of give you that blank stare. And then here's what they usually do. 70% of people will do this because I've been doing this almost 20 years. Well, let me think about it. Let me get back with you. Let me talk to my neighbor. Let me talk to my real estate agent and say, listen, Mr. Seller, remember we talked about up front, I said I'd spend as much time as I can with you. And at the end, you would make a decision to move forward or to just call it a day. We're at that point. What is it that's making you uncomfortable, or how much more information can I help you make you comfortable with my offer? This is the point where you actually go back and you cover points on what they're missing. The reason people say no to you is they're uncomfortable. They don't like what you're offering and you need to figure out what it is. If it's just price, you didn't do a very good with the conversational, with the rapport building, and you need to go back and fix it. So, and by the way, when people give us a flat out hard no, and it's just about price, they're doing you a favor, commend them for it and move on. There's nothing worse than dragging on a motivated seller for months on end for them just to blow you off and never sell the house. I'd rather just get a hard no. So the next one is either your first or your last. And I'm here to tell you, I call it is your first and your last. If you have that deal where you have multiple wholesalers showing up, cash buyers, realtors, it doesn't matter what it is, listing agents, and they say, okay, there's like 3 or 4 appointments. And you go, well, Mr. Seller, when's your first appointment? Well, Susie's coming at 10, Tracy's coming at 11, you're coming at 12, and John's coming at 1. Okay, the appointment's at 12. That's fine. I'm going to do some preliminary work. I can't wait to see you. I don't try to knock the order out. So that 10 o'clock, I'm probably going to show up at like 9:15. Now I'm going to show up unannounced and I'm just going to play stupid. I'm sorry. I thought our appointment was at 9. No. I think we said noon. Oh man. Well, I'm here. You mind if I ask you a few questions about the house? I just kind of go into it. They never turn me down. I have the ability to make the first impression. I start developing a conversation to build rapport so I can get a relationship with them. And I said, listen, this is great. I'm going to go ahead and do a little research on some information. I know I was coming at 12, but your last appointment's at 1. Why don't I come by about like 1:30, 1:45? She's like, yeah, that'll work. So now I have the ability to have the first impression and the last impression. And if you did a great job building the conversation and the upfront agreement, by the time you come in, you have twice the ability to close the deal, and you'll have all the numbers from your so-called competition. And this little technique works really, really well. If you're first and last, you can dominate in wholesaling. It's a little bit of extra step, but you make an incredible impression and it works every time. Yes, you got to be a little bit sneaky on that first one, but who's going to say no when you come out and make an offer on the house and take a look at it? The key is building up that rapport as much as you can, because you're going to have twice the time as all your other competition has. And to me, the more time I get with the seller, the more my odds of increase of getting a dynamite wholesale deal. Okay, last but not least is, you guys, as a wholesaler, you have to do what you verbally commit to doing with your motivated sellers. So your word is your bond. I believe in this heavily. If you agree with a seller to pay their closing cost and you get to the closing table and the title company goes, hey, you didn't put that in your paperwork, Rick. Do you want to go ahead and pay for the closing cost? You want them to do it. If you try that sneaky move where you try to pass it on, you can actually ruin a good wholesale deal. What I'm telling you is there's a lot of wholesalers out there that say one thing and they put it in the contract. Your sellers are trusting you, so it's up to you to live by your word. And I'm telling you, if you have to change your agreement, go back to the seller and renegotiate either the closing cost or the price, just saying, listen, I paid too much for it. It doesn't work. But do not wait till the very end, because that's when the disasters happen. And that's when your competition can take advantage, because once you break that trust with your seller, you're never, ever going to earn it back. So if you have to make an adjustment, and we all do at some point, the sooner you do it, the better. Because what you agree to in writing and what you verbally commit to your sellers, they only listen to what you verbally agree to. If you have to make an adjustment, you offered to pay for the closing cost, but you didn't with the contract, either pay for the closing cost, or if the deal's too tight and it's a problem on your assignment, either offer to split the closing cost or tell the seller they need to pay for it. But make sure you honor your word. I'm telling you, if people just follow the word, amazing things happen in this business, and you'll get more respect. You'll get more deals by telling the truth. The more that wholesalers lie, that's what your competition will do, the more desperate they become, and the more you need to be above board. Let's live by our word, what we tell our motivated sellers, and let's honor the agreement. And if we have to make a change, leave enough time before your closing to make those changes so they understand you're being upfront and honest with them. Don't be tricky. Don't be sneaky. Honor your word, guys. Do you look at your competition, and do you use any of these tips or tricks to beat them out on most of your wholesale deals? Guys, tell me if you're in too much of a saturated market. It doesn't matter. I'm in South Florida. Share my 20 years of experience on how to dominate and beat any of your wholesale competition. I'm telling you, this stuff works. So let me know in the comments below. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button to continue to receive the absolute best information on wholesaling today. And guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.